Welcome back to the program. Uhuru Kenyatta will today fly to Moroto, Uganda, where he is expected to sign a bilateral agreement with his host Yoweri Museveni. Now, the deal will compel Kenya to disarm Turkana pastoralists. Under the agreement, pastoral communities will be allowed to share social service facilities, environmental resources, and economic infrastructure. It will facilitate peaceful cross-border movement of livestock in search of pasture and water during drought.
All right, and of course, elsewhere, Deputy President William Ruto today kicks off a 5-day tour of the coast region where he will launch a number of development projects. Now, he will be in Tana River today, where he will inspect the Kora Kora Canal water and the coconut and nuts projects. He will later proceed to Kilifi, where he will commission the Baricho water stabilization supply and visit the National Irrigation Board project on cashew nuts and coconuts.
Moving on to a story on sports is that the 2-day World Athletics Championships trials kick off today at the Nyayo National Stadium. Athletics Kenya will be using the event to pick the squad to the Global Track and Field Contest that starts on September 27th in Doha, Qatar. The highlight of the day is the men's 5,000 meters event.
And of course, bringing to you regarding what's happening in the world of politics, where Third Way Alliance party leader Ekuru Aukot will today address journalists on the progress of the Punguza Mizigo bill. In particular, Aukot will seek to address happenings in Kirinyaga and Siaya counties where the bill has been met with opposition.
So sure, Shiksha. Moving on is that embattled Samburu County Governor Moses Lenol Kulal will today appear before Senate's County Public Accounts and Investments Committee to shed light on audit queries. Lenol Kulal has not been able to access his office since July after a court barred him over an ongoing fraud case.
Right, of course, we're going to be covering that and much more right here on K24 Daily Brief. But for now, it's time to bring to you the latest with regard to local news. And police in Moyale are pursuing 3 men who allegedly made away with an unknown amount of money at the Oda airstrip in Marsabit. Now, the money was reportedly being transported by air from Nairobi to Moyale town on the border of Kenya and Ethiopia.
The plane had only 3 occupants, a pilot, his assistant, and a cash officer from Wells Fargo Courier Company. Police say officials from Equity Bank were about to receive the money from the aircraft when the 3 men ambushed them, flashing a pistol, and grabbed 2 money bags from the plane.
They then escaped on a motorcycle through the airstrip's fence. And of course, moving on, a Kiambu resident has sued Kiambu Deputy Governor James Nyoro for allegedly reshuffling County Executive Committee members following suspension of Governor Ferdinand Waititu.
Bernard Shege Mburu argues that the deputy governor is purporting to exercise powers that he does not have in law and could set a dangerous precedent, as deputy governors would usurp the authority of governors every time the latter are either sick or temporarily away.
Now, he argues that the DGS might seek to replace the appointees of the governors or restructure the county government, only for the governors to subsequently reverse such acts.
And moving on now to another story is that lovers of Rumba music continue to mourn the death of veteran musician Juma Toto, who passed on Tuesday evening at the Kenyatta National Hospital.
Now, Toto was known as the man who gave Gor Mahia Football Club its anthem, FC Gor Mahia, in 1970.
His family says Juma died while undergoing surgery to his head following an accident near his home in Jerusalem Estate, Nairobi, last week.
And fellow artists have described Juma's death as a big blow to the Kenyan music scene. He was the chairman of the Kenya Music Association and is credited with the formation of the Music Copyright Society of Kenya.
Our condolences to the family of the late Juma Toto.
Definitely. So that's something that we will be talking about throughout the day right here on K24 Daily Brief. And of course, apart from what's trending and what's happening with local news, we also have the international news.
That's true, we do. And Robert Mugabe will today and tomorrow be laid out for the public to pay their respects at Rufaro Stadium in Harare.
Now, officials plan to transport people by bus from the provinces for the event. Mugabe's body was flown to Zimbabwe on Wednesday from Singapore, where he died last week.
Around 2,000 supporters, family members and government officials were on the tarmac at Harare Airport to welcome his remains, which arrived on a chartered flight.
And the body spent the night at Mugabe's private Harare residence known as the Blue Roof, and a state funeral will be held on Saturday in Harare ahead of burial on Sunday.
Now, Nigeria has begun repatriating more than 600 of its citizens from South Africa following a wave of xenophobic attacks.
And of course, private Nigerian airline, that's Air Peace, volunteered to fly people for free back to Lagos on Wednesday.
Nigeria's government estimates that more than 300 people were on their way home.
And a second flight is expected to depart over the next 2 days with about 640 Nigerians.
Riots in Pretoria and Johannesburg killed at least 12 people as 1,000 foreign-owned businesses were targeted.
The violence has sparked an international outcry and calls for a boycott of South Africa.
Moving on, Bahamas emergency services have listed 2,500 people as missing after Hurricane Dorian struck the islands last week.
Now remember, this official count suggests that the death toll will be much higher than the current 50, and of course, though the number of missing has yet to be checked against those in shelters.
Dorian equaled the highest winds ever recorded for a hurricane at landfall when it struck the Abaco Islands.
And large areas were devastated on the Abacos and on Grand Bahama, and hundreds of people are being housed in temporary shelters in the capital, Nassau.
That's our update in as far as the international front is concerned.
All right, of course, we're definitely going to be giving you more details. And remember, you can keep interacting with us on hashtag K24 Daily Brief. At K24 TV is where you're going to find us. Talk to us. Tell us what is happening around you.
And the SMS line is 21222, and we shall definitely, sample your feedback during and at the tail end of this live broadcast.
And of course, Samuel, so today we've seen a couple of things that are happening. The Punguza Mizigo bill is something that we will be covering closely as well. And I think this is something that will develop over the course of the days. And of course, for now, it's time to tell you what is happening in the world of health and health matters, where a report compiled by the Ministry of Health early this year. And of course, this report has indicated some very interesting results.
That's true, and our reporter Gloria Milimo was on the ground and was able to actually give us an update in as far as this issue is concerned, and we will be in a position to run it by you, where a report compiled by the Ministry of Health early this year painted a grim picture of the agony patients and their families go through of a non-payment of hospital bills.
Now, the report flagged several major hospitals for being complicit in detaining patients and bodies, causing untold suffering to families.
On Health Unlimited tonight, Gloria Milimo, that happened last night, of course, looks at the agony of affected families and the cost implications unpaid bills have on the operation of health facilities.
Take a look.
Sai niko frustrated mpaka nimekuwa traumatized. Hata nashindwa niwaachie hii mwili wa kule ama waende wazike juu.
Nabat Wakisa is a frustrated man. His frustrations now become part of his daily routine for over 1 month as he frequents this facility to negotiate for the release of his late wife's body, who died while undergoing treatment at the hospital. The inability to offset 1.3 million shillings medical bill has derailed his desire to give his wife a befitting send-off. The daily consultations have borne no fruits. At his one-roomed rented house in Kawangware, Nairobi County, friends and family are busy making preparations for a burial whose fate remains unknown.
Nimeng'ang'ana sana nikienda huko nikiwabembeleza. Mpaka nimelipa shilingi 1230. Ofisi yangu ambayo nafanya nayo National Cohesion CEO akawaandikia barua kwamba nimecommit payslip yangu kwamba itakuwa ikikatwa shilingi 1500 kulingana na payslip yangu kila mwezi. Alafu nikipata ingine naongezea.
According to Nabat, the hospital is demanding what he cannot afford.
Hata nikiambiwa saa hii mwili wako ndio huu, nitabeba hata kama nikubeba kwa baiskeli, muradi ifike Migori County, twende tuzike.
Nabat's predicament is a reflection of what thousands of Kenyans who are unable to pay their hospital bills have to contend with. But do hospitals have the right to detain patients or bodies? Human rights activists say this kind of action reduces the detained person to a form of collateral for debt.
The court says it's unethical for a doctor or for an institution to detain a patient for non-payment of bills.
Though admitting the existence of mechanisms to resolve the crisis, hospitals managers argue that the huge amount of outstanding bills have affected their operations.
That being the case, you'll have a big question which will come from the practitioners and the institutions themselves. Then who takes the responsibility of paying for the bill? And I think regulations must be put in place where hospital bills can be secured and they can be paid. Kenyans should take health insurance covers seriously. I think instead of crying that my patient is being detained, you should be telling us my insurance company has not paid for the release and my insurance company has not done this.
Gloria Milimu, K24 for Health Unlimited.
A very interesting story there. Of course, remember, this brings me to the story that we saw a few months ago of a man who had kidnapped his infant from Kenyatta National Hospital after he was unable to clear his bill.
And it brings up so many questions. And it's not the first time as a nation we are attempting to have a conversation around holistic health services being provided to everyone. Universal health care is aimed at addressing some of the gaps that currently exist. But does the infrastructure really support the idea behind UHC? That's a whole new conversation out there. And Gloria Milimu was in a position to file that particular story. It ran yesterday night during our evening edition, and that will be Health Unlimited coming to you each and every Wednesday on K24 Evening Edition. That's our sister bulletin right here at K24 TV. And
speaking of what is coming to you right now, we have Timothy Simwa, who's going to be giving us the latest from his end in Uasin Gishu County. Good morning to you, Timothy. What is happening where you are and what can we expect from your end from Eldoret?
Yes, good morning to you, Shiksha and Sam in our studios. Shiksha, the issue that we'll be delving into this morning, it's an issue that we've been talking about for quite some time now. Just last week, we did report that the county government of Uasin Gishu was moving to review the land rates in Uasin Gishu, or rather in Eldoret to be more specific. It's an issue that I would say has caused some kind of jittery from landowners within the Eldoret town, and most of these people are saying that the whole process did not actually involve them. And Shiksha, a new twist in the whole development is that the issue has found itself before the floor of the House. I mean, that is the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu. A motion was moved yesterday, of course, to stop the county government from moving on to review those proposals. And that's why this morning, Shiksha, I would want to talk to at least a number of members of County Assembly who are going to shed light on just why they have moved to to curtail the idea of reviewing land rates in Uasin Gishu. And perhaps where were you when this whole thing was done? Did the county government deliberately ignore involving members of the public and perhaps landowners?
Thank you. It's a good concern and question First of all, I want to say that I'm a member of County Assembly, Uasin Gishu. And I want to say that one, is not that the Assembly had slept on its mandate, but what was bypassed is that no public participation was done to even notify the public that now we are more than 5-10 years. We need to do valuation of our land so that it can inform us on what kind of rates we need to pay. That did not happen. Two, the executive wing of the county government of Uasin Gishu, led by His Excellency Jackson Mandago, did not consult the county assembly as the people representative to make sure that we bring everybody on board. Therefore, what has been done secretly and a shoddy job. Why a shoddy job? All plots had, within municipality were not captured. Two, the rate that has been given, if you give 1% of it, others are being asked to pay land rates of more than $1 million a year, and they were paying maybe 10,000, 20,000. That one is unacceptable. And to make matter worse, for you to object if you are not in agreement with the evaluation role, you are supposed to fill a form called objection form. The county government executive wing are asking the public to pay 500 to fill that form. If you can imagine, we are not two people in Uasin Gishu, plot owners. There are so many. That one is another scandal of its own kind. Yes, they need to fill, but with a manageable fee, like 50 shilling or 100 shilling.
Mheshimiwa Muya, over just last week, the Deputy President was around, and I believe you are also at that function. He did actually talk about that issue, and he encouraged residents of Eldoret Town that in as much as, you know, county governments are crying about low budgets, this could be also an alternative to making sure that they raise revenue. Do you not want to be part of this whole idea of trying to make sure that they're also chipping in some way to make sure that county governments have enough revenue for development?
My brother, you are right. The Deputy President was here last week to preside a burial ceremony of one of our renowned person. And he did mention that issue because, you know, it's the issue thorn in the flesh. And I want to say that is one way where the county government of Uasin Gishu need to get revenue from. But I want to state here categorically that county government are not profit-making organization. Therefore, even when they are charging land rates, it should be manageable fee. For example, one plot owner within town center who have been paying 24,000. After looking the new valuation road, she's being asked to pay 900,000, 1% of the valuation that has been done in a year. Surely, that one, even if we are looking for revenues, but we need to put it in a rate whereby all people will be comfortable with it. And mark you, most plot owners within Eldoret are aged people, more than 70 plus. You know, these are people who maybe they are suffering from high blood pressure, diabetes and the like. And if they are not involved properly, we might have other cases, medical cases, because once you are told that you will be paying $1 million, it's as if you are being told to relinquish your plot. Therefore, we need to do it in a humane way, in a consultative way, so that it can be a win-win situation in both sides.
My last question, but not least, at least there is also a concern that most of the plot owners in Eldoret are not utilizing them. Some are just laying fallow. And perhaps that's the reason why the county government is moving to make sure that at least people who own plots rather in this town are utilizing them. What's your take on that?
My brother, I want to say that yes, indeed, there are people who have not developed their plot, but they are a very small fraction. But the majority are either utilizing the same project for residential purpose, others for commercial, but you can't say that all plots are laying idle. Therefore, if it is an issue of making people to pay, let us consult them, let us bring them together, because we are the government that need to be a listening government and a talking government to its people, so that whatever move we take, it will be a consultative issue, and it will be a win-win situation whereby the government will gain by getting the revenue that it has been agreed, and Mwananchi will be very comfortable to pay because they have been consulted.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Shiksha, of course, the sticking point in this whole debate has been about public participation. And now that the issue is before the County Assembly for Uasin Gishu, will be just following up to see what will be the outcome eventually, and on whether the county government will reverse or capitulate and make sure that they're bringing everybody who's concerned on board to make sure that they find a unanimous point on on this whole idea. Of course, it should also be remembered that a section of the landowners last week were also mooting the idea of moving to court to stop it wholesomely. And here now we have the county assembly also stepping in to make sure that the whole process is consultative, and at the end of the day they agree on land that everyone will be comfortable with. So Shiksha, that's an issue that will be following up. And away from that, Shiksha, we are also getting reports that within the outskirts of Eldoret in Annex, a police officer has been found dead in mysterious circumstances. It's a story that we are trying to follow up with the OCPD of that area, and of course he'll be giving us details just on what transpired exactly, and in our subsequent bulletins we'll be letting our viewers know what exactly might have transpired. Back to you, Shiksha and Sam.
Very much, Timothy Simwa, for that update. Quite a comprehensive report, and there's a lot to expect from Uasin Gishu County today.
Right, land rates. Earlier on, we were told the reason why they were going up was because of a proposal to upgrade Eldoret from a town to a city.
Yes.
Others argued out that it was one of the ways the county governments were using to just get more money into their coffers to avoid being held hostage in case there's another stalemate of a division of revenue allocation. But as it comes from Uasin Gishu today, public participation was not conducted before the county government decided to hike the land rates upwards, and therefore it begs those pertinent questions that were being raised there by Timothy Simwa. And we shall keep interacting with it, as we will be interacting with your feedback beginning right now, Shiksha.
Yes, and of course, for now, we're going to be giving you more details with regard to what is happening on social media, what you're talking about, what is trending and what's creating the buzz. Well, for now, we're going to start off with Twitter, where, of course, your tweets are very important, and the top hashtags of the day being Mariga once again. And of course, that's Robert Alai, who goes on to say that Mariga will show what type of a leader he can be by how he fights this and wins. Moving on, we've got another one there from JN Gatu, who says, not registered in Kibra, not voted, done nothing to anyone in that area, etc., yet he's fighting. His image, rather than PR for him, has damaged him. Moving on, we've got another one there from @Matumbe Elkana, who says, what about if Raila Odinga could stick to engineering? Let us not reason this way, please. Hashtag Mariga is a Kenyan who deserves to lead like any other Kenyans in other professions. Moving on, we've got another one from Lord Abraham Mutai, who goes on to say that McDonald Mariga will not be on the ballot. Take it to Kibra. And yet another one from you, that's @Kip Murkomen, who says, Mariga, as per the constitution and the established law, is qualified to be a candidate in the Kibra by-elections. Those who are scared of competition are putting unnecessary roadblocks on his path. Moving on, we've got another one from @geek_WZ that says, IEBC is tasked with carrying out continuous registration of voters. They should have just registered Mariga yesterday if he wasn't previously registered. Now remember, the question remains, do you think McDonald Mariga should be allowed by the IEBC to contest for the Kibra by-election come 7th of November? And that's something that we're going to be following up right here on #K24 Daily Brief. Keep interacting with us, and we'll definitely be giving you what is trending apart from that hashtag, which is #Mariga. There is also the hashtag Punguza Mizigo Bill 2019 that has been trending for the past 24 hours. So those are a few of the things that we will be discussing later.